The two heaviest karmas in life that everyone should know to avoid bringing calamity upon themselves. Hello everyone. Welcome to Mind Podcast, Buddhism. Have you ever wondered why your life keeps encountering misfortune? Why sometimes a single careless word is enough to bring disaster upon you? And have you ever asked yourself why some people always live in insecurity, endure chronic illness, or face unexpected calamities? All those things may not be random. There are invisible forces stronger than fate itself, namely karmic forces. Among the countless karmas that humans can generate, two kinds are the heaviest, like two large stones that bind our lives in suffering, disturbing the mind and unsettling the body. Human life is like a raging river. There are calm stretches where the water flows gently, reflecting the brilliant sunlight, but there are also sections of rapids where the water bursts into white foam, sweeping away everything weak. Whether by accident or intention, when caught in that flow, every thought, every word, and every action creates an undercurrent in the river of karma. What we do today will flow into the future, shaping what we will receive. Among the myriad karmas that humans can generate, two are the heaviest, like two great boulders blocking the river of life, preventing the water from flowing freely and disturbing the peace of the soul. So what are these two karmas? If we commit them inadvertently, is there a way to transform them, or are we destined to remain trapped in the endless cycle of rebirth? Listen carefully, for understanding this may help you change your own destiny. First is the karma of speech. The karma of speech is an invisible blade that cuts through countless eons. In the light of the waning moon, there are words that fade into the darkness before they reach the ear, and there are words that, even when barely spoken, cut so deeply into the heart that they remain forever. Human words are as light as the wind, yet as sharp as a knife. A single sentence can be a cooling breeze that soothes a suffering soul, but it can also be an invisible blade that slashes into another person's heart, leaving wounds that never heal. Do you remember the last time someone spoke a sentence that warmed your heart all day long? Or have you ever heard a word that kept you awake at night? Wounds from a knife may heal, but wounds from words accompany us until the end of our days. There is a story of a boy who was quick to anger and spoke without restraint. One day his father gave him a bag of nails and told him, "Each time you say something hurtful to someone, drive one nail into the wooden fence behind the house." On the first day, he drove in more than 20 nails. Gradually, the number of nails lessened as he tried to restrain himself and became more mindful of his words. Then his father said, "Now pull out each nail." The boy cheerfully complied, but when he looked at the fence, it was full of holes. His father explained, "Words you speak, even if you apologize, are like these holes. The marks remain and cannot be erased." Indeed, words are not something we can retract once released. A lie, an insult, a false accusation. Even with all the explanations in the world, the listener still carries that wound in the heart. Just as water spilled cannot be recovered intact, spoken words cannot be taken back. The Buddha taught, "Do not speak harsh words, for evil words return to you. Do not spread gossip, for it will return to your own door." We often think karma only comes from actions such as killing, stealing, or immoral conduct. Yet one of the heaviest karmas is that of speech. Words can uplift, but also plunge someone into the depths of despair. The karma of speech is not only about abusive or insulting words. It can also be those seemingly harmless remarks that still wound deeply. It is a lie that causes someone to lose trust, rumors and baseless gossip, mockery and sarcasm that makes someone feel ashamed of themselves. We speak so easily, but do we ever pause to ask if our words are truly necessary or if they will harm someone? If words are like stones, throw them into the water rather than into another person's heart, for water can wash them away, but the heart cannot. There was a man who loved to gossip about others. He always added fabrications for entertainment. He accused a woman in the village of being a thief. The villagers believed him, shunned, and looked down on her. It was not long before the truth came out. It had all been slander. The woman suffered so deeply that she left the village, never to return. The man regretted his actions and sought a way to make amends from a monk. The monk told him, "Spread a bag of chicken feathers all over the village." He obeyed, but when he tried to collect the feathers afterward, they had been blown by the wind to every corner and could not be gathered. The monk nodded and said, "Your spoken words are the same. Once scattered, they cannot be retrieved. That is the law of cause and effect for the karma of speech. A word spoken in seconds may produce consequences that last a lifetime. We often think words are fleeting, but in reality they are seeds. If we sow seeds of love, we will reap fragrant flowers. But if we sow seeds of poison, one day we will live among thorny briars. If today we use words to hurt someone, how can we be sure tomorrow those wounds will not return to us? Those who cultivate virtue are not only those who perform good deeds, but also those who speak kindly. A timely compliment can uplift a discouraged soul. A word of encouragement can save a heart on the brink of despair. The Buddha taught speak gently with compassion. Those who hear are at ease, and those who speak accumulate merit. Words are like lotuses blooming in muddy water, exuding fragrance yet untouched by impurity. A caring word can change someone's life. Sincere words can open a heart long closed. Therefore, if you can, choose words that bring joy to others. If you cannot speak words of beauty, remain silent. One way to control your speech is to ask yourself before speaking, is this true? Is this necessary? Will this benefit anyone? If a word is untrue, unnecessary, and brings no benefit, it is best not to speak. Guarding the mouth is guarding one's fortune. Spoken words are like paper kites. Once the string is broken, they cannot be retrieved. The wise are not those who speak much, but those who speak at the right time, in the right place, to the right person. Try living one day without speaking negative words, without engaging in gossip, without complaining or harboring resentment. You will feel your mind become lighter and more at peace. And remember, a single word can save a person, but it can also wreck a life. Today, what will you choose to speak? Will it be words that uplift, or the karma of violence, an endless, blood-soaked cycle of rebirth? In this world, there is no greater suffering than having one's life taken away. Every life is precious, whether human or the tiniest creature. An ant knows fear of death. A bird trembles when it faces danger. A fish struggles in a net, overcome by panic. Yet humans, through habit, desire, or indifference, grant themselves the right to give or take life. They do not hesitate to slaughter countless beings to satisfy their palate, serve personal benefit, or simply because ignorance blinds them. The Buddha teaches, all sentient beings fear pain and cherish life equally. If we place ourselves in their position, we will not be cruel. When a being is killed, its suffering does not end with the body's destruction. It extends into hatred and despair. A cow, tied and awaiting slaughter, gazes in terror, but no one cares to look. A pig cries out before the blade, its tears falling unnoticed. A fish is struck on the chopping block, its mouth gasping for air, yet no one's heart stirs. These creatures do not wish to die, but humans view their lives as worthless in pursuit of personal gain. But is that life truly without value? We think of killing animals as trivial, part of survival. Yet the law of cause and effect does not bend to our mindset. Every drop of blood spilled is a debt. Every life taken binds us tighter in the chains of karma. Can a butcher, hands stained with blood day after day, ever live in peace? Can one who fosters life through slaughter escape the retribution of illness and disaster? There is a story of a lifelong butcher who, in old age, was stricken with cancer and unbearable pain. He invited a monk to come and lift his karma. The monk quietly observed him, then asked, "When you held the knife, did you ever think of the animal's pain?" The butcher fell silent, tears streaming down his face, as images of the thousands he had slain flashed before him. He realized that his own suffering mirrored the agony those creatures had endured. "As you sow, so shall you reap," the monk said. Many think violent karma only involves direct killing of humans or animals. In reality, its scope is far broader. Killing karma through action, taking human or animal life, massacring forests, destroying habitats. Killing karma through speech, instigating others to do evil, inciting violence, sowing hatred, spreading suffering. Killing karma through thought, harboring hatred, malice, or the desire to harm others or witness their suffering. Many do not kill with their own hands but pay others to do it, believing they bear no karma themselves. We go to temples seeking peace, yet our offerings still include slain beings. We pray for health, yet we chew their flesh. We wish for a joyful life, Yet we enable killing every day. We keep asking, why am I plagued by chronic illness? Why does misfortune follow me? Why do sorrow and loss visit my family? But do we ever ask ourselves, what deeds did I commit to receive this karma? The Buddha teaches, to know what you did in a past life, look at your present life. To know what your future life will be, observe how you live today. The seed you plant, you will surely harvest. If today you take the life of another being, tomorrow you will endure the same pain. It may not be immediate or even in this lifetime, but the law of cause and effect never errs. If you kill, you will suffer harm to your health and life. If you sow fear, you will live in anxiety. If you cause suffering, you will receive pain beyond expectation. Can created karma be transformed? The answer is yes. Stop all killing from this moment. If you are still taking life, cease immediately. If you eat meat, try reducing it or turning toward vegetarianism. If you are indifferent to animal suffering, cultivate compassion within. Repent for violent karma. Sincerely regret what you have done and vow not to repeat it. Strive to perform good deeds to make amends. Practice true liberation of life. Rescue and protect beings, not merely as ritual, but as genuine acts of compassion. Do not buy birds or fish only to release them again. Instead, protect their natural habitats. Sow seeds of kindness, and you will inevitably reap benevolent fruits. Chanting sutras and performing good deeds to dedicate the merit. Reciting sutras to repent karmic obstacles and engaging in acts of kindness to help others. Use the energy of compassion to alleviate the burden of karma. Every living being in this world deserves to live. When we take their lives, we inadvertently add to our own karmic debt. Stop before it is too late. Open your heart to compassion. Learn to love all beings as you love yourself. Live in such a way that, when you look back, you have no regrets for the harm you have caused. Cause and effect spare no one. If you wish for a life of peace and happiness, first learn to protect life rather than destroy it. How can we transform our karma? Karma is not an eternal sentence, but a flowing current that can be changed. Like a seed sown in fertile soil, when it is nurtured with care, fertilizer, and water, it will bear sweet fruit. But if we sow bad seeds, the resulting plant will be covered in sharp thorns. We cannot turn back time to erase past karma, but we can begin now to transform it. Like replacing a contaminated glass of water with clean water, we can choose to start fresh. Every action we take leaves an imprint on the universe. If our hands once mercilessly took the life of a living being, those same hands can learn to soothe and embrace. Eat a little less meat and embrace more kindness. Changing dietary habits not only benefits health, but also reduces the karma of killing. When someone chooses vegetarianism, they not only save a life, but also lighten their own heart. We can rescue and protect life by releasing captive beings back into nature, caring for abandoned animals. These are not only acts of merit, but also ways to cultivate wholesome seeds and nurture compassion. When you see an animal in pain, try to imagine yourself in its place. When you see a bird confined in a cage, think of how it feels to be imprisoned. Empathy is the key to ending the karma of killing. Words also have the power to create merit or karma. A kind word can save a life, but a cruel word can destroy a soul. Speak with loving kindness and never wound another. When anger arises, take a deep breath before you speak. A careless remark can hurt someone for a lifetime. Do not deceive or lie. Even the smallest falsehood can bring unforeseen karmic consequences. Always speak the truth, for truth is the foundation of a peaceful soul. Use words to sow good seeds. Praise others when they do good. Encourage those who suffer, and comfort those who are sad. These are ways that speech can transform karma. The karma of killing does not rest only in action, but also in thought. When we hold hatred, envy, or the desire to harm, our minds already create karma. Let go of resentment and cultivate love. If someone hurts you, consider that they may be helping you repay past karma. When you forgive, you free yourself. Practice meditation to keep the mind pure. A mind filled with greed, anger, and ignorance only generates more suffering. Meditation helps us reflect upon ourselves and learn to act rightly. Helping others also dissolves bad karma. When we do good, we not only aid others, but also make amends for our own mistakes. A drop of compassion can dissolve an ocean of karmic obstacles. There is no faster path to cleanse karma than the path of virtue. If we have sown bad seeds, we can strive to sow many good seeds to balance them. Perform acts of kindness with genuine sincerity. Giving charity for selfish gain does not truly transform karma. The intention matters as much as the deed. Sow good seeds every day. A smile, a small act such as picking up litter, helping an elderly person, or caring for an animal can all become means to create wholesome karma. No one lives without making mistakes. What matters is whether we recognize our errors and correct them. A river can change its course if it finds the right path. Darkness gives way to dawn when the sun rises. Life too can change if we resolve to transform ourselves here and now. Will you continue to create karma, or will you stop and begin to sow seeds of goodness? The story goes, the butcher who laid down his knife and became a Buddha. Long ago, in a small village, there lived a man whose trade was butchery. Every day he slaughtered dozens of animals to sell their meat. He saw nothing wrong with it. His father and grandfather had done the same. To him, it was simply a way to earn a living, like anyone else's work. One day, however, something extraordinary happened. As he prepared to kill a cow as usual, he looked into its eyes. There, he saw not only fear but also reproach, as if the animal asked, "Why are you killing me?" For the first time in his life, his heart ached. That night, he dreamed he had become an animal, fleeing in terror only to be hunted and killed. He awoke in a cold sweat, shaken to his core. From that day on, he felt increasingly uneasy. Each time he killed an animal, he recalled the nightmare and found himself repulsed by his work. Then one day an old monk passed by his slaughterhouse. With compassionate eyes, the monk gently said, "Son, every cut of your knife not only ends a life, but also plants a seed of suffering in your own heart. Do you feel the weight growing inside you?" The butcher said nothing, but the words echoed in his mind. That very evening, he decided to abandon his trade. He sold his butchering tools and used his savings to open a vegetarian eatery. He no longer took life. Instead, he began to live by compassion. Yet his past karma would not release him so easily. Night after night, he dreamt of the animals he had slain, coming to demand their lives back. He sought out the old monk in desperation. "Master," he asked, "I have given up my trade, so why am I still haunted?" The monk replied kindly, "Karma is not like a shadow you can erase at once. It is like muddy water. To become clear, it must settle. Continue your good deeds, repent sincerely, and dedicate your merit for the lives you have taken. Gradually your mind will lighten." Heated, the butcher performed acts of generosity each day. He gave alms, aided the poor, and released captive animals. He recited sutras, ate only plant foods, and led a pure life. Years passed, and his nightmares ceased. He no longer felt fear or remorse. Instead, he experienced a serenity he had never known. One morning, he sat in meditation beneath a tree and smiled in peaceful contentment. He had truly transformed his karma. Karma cannot be escaped, but it can be transformed. Just as the old butcher awakened with a single intention and resolved to change, so too can darkness dissolve into light. Violent karma is not confined to acts of killing. It also resides in harsh words and vengeful thoughts. When we learn to stop and turn back, destructive karma ceases to cling. Like stilling turbulent water, if we no longer stir it, the mud will settle and the water become clear. Right now, at this very moment, we can choose to change. It matters not what we have done, but what we will choose from here on. Will we dare to relinquish harmful habits, hurtful words, and destructive actions? Remember, every day is an opportunity to begin anew. Life is a cycle of cause and effect, where each thought, word, and deed leaves its mark. When a person gradually repays their karma, they feel lightness in their heart and find their life flowing more smoothly. This is neither avoidance nor mere luck, but the result of cultivation, transformation, and letting go of old burdens. Are you experiencing these changes yourself? Let us explore the first of 5 signs that you have repaid your karma and entered a new phase, one of greater peace, ease, and happiness. 1. Inner tranquility, no longer bound by resentment. Some mornings, the sunlight filters through leaves and touches your eyes still dewy with dawn. Birds sing clear and pure, washing away yesterday's worries. In that moment you stand at ease, free of anger, blame, or regret. That is perhaps the clearest sign that your karma has been repaid and your heart has found peace. Once, wounds seemed permanent, resentments, betrayals, and losses that tightened around your soul. Each recollection was like an invisible hand squeezing your heart. But time flows on like a mountain stream, carrying away the dust of the past. One day, looking back, you realize that once painful memories have become mere stories, no longer weighing on your spirit. You no longer hold bitterness toward those who hurt you, nor do you torment yourself over past mistakes. Everything that happened had its reason. Every person who crossed your path was a karmic connection, some to love you, others to teach you loss. Understanding this, you can release the heavy burdens in your heart, not because you have forgotten, but because you have learned to accept. A fallen leaf carried by swift water may drown if it clings too tightly, but if it surrenders to the current, it drifts gently to where it belongs. So it is with human hearts. When we cease clinging, stop blaming fate, and accept what has passed without inner turmoil, that is true freedom. You no longer crave absolute justice. You understand that life does not always offer clear answers. Some wounds must be healed from within, with no one else able to fill the void. Yet you no longer wait for apologies or demand explanations. When your heart grows large enough, you realize that true peace does not come from being compensated, but from releasing your own burdens. Once, you wept over life's injustices. You felt your heart grow heavy when betrayed. You resented a world that did not treat you gently. Now, you only smile at the memory. The storms you endured have forged you into someone stronger. The scars on your soul now resemble beautiful wood grain, proof of your growth and resilience. You no longer tally wins or losses, care what others think, or feel the need to prove yourself. You have discovered that serenity depends not on how the world treats you, but on how you stand before the world. When praise and criticism no longer sway you, when you hold no grudges for what is past, you taste true freedom. You can sit on your porch and watch a flower bloom with a lightness of heart. You can walk past the old street where painful memories lie without flinching. You can hear a song once tied to other days without your heart aching. These are signs that you have repaid old debts. You are no longer bound by resentment or trapped in regret. Like a fledgling bird leaving the nest to soar in the vast sky, like a dewdrop dissolving in morning light, you neither cling nor resent, neither demand nor reproach. When your heart drifts as lightly as a cloud, you know you are free. You no longer carry toxic relationships. Some people entered your life like a sudden summer downpour, loud, overwhelming, and then hurried away, leaving only a faint patch of sunshine behind. They brought joy but also left wounds. They were once dear to you, the ones you trusted most, and the ones who hurt you most. Over time, those people faded from your life, not because they changed, but because you did. You ceased clinging to relationships steeped in karma and let go of whatever drained your soul. You learned to release and to let life's impermanence do its work. Once you asked, why do they treat me this way? What did I do wrong? Am I not good enough? Those questions battered you like relentless waves, with no complete answers. Then one day you realized that not everyone who enters your life will stay to its end. Some appear only to teach you a lesson and then depart. You suffered loss, felt wounded by careless words, doubted yourself over someone's departure. Yet now, when you look back, you smile, knowing that everything happened for a reason. Some departures clear space for others to arrive. Some pains enlarge your heart, so you can cherish simple, genuine blessings. When toxic ties break, your life grows lighter. You no longer force yourself to please anyone. You no longer guess at others' thoughts. You begin to form healthy connections, relationships rooted in sincerity, free of ulterior motives and pressure. You learn to listen to those who truly care, rather than chase after those who view you as a temporary choice. One day you will realize that those who stay are not there because they need something from you, but because they love you for who you are. They will not try to change you or demand you become someone else. They will accept you fully. They will not exhaust you with unjust anger, wound you with cutting words, or trap you in situations where you must prove your worth. You will stop seeking approval from those who do not value you. You understand that your worth lies not in others' opinions, but in how you honor yourself. You no longer crave empty praise or suffer from indifference. You learn to feel complete within, and those who are likewise whole will come to you. Healthy bonds need not be perfect. They simply allow you to be yourself, to laugh freely without judgment, to share your heart without fear of abandonment. They bring calm and peace without forcing you to perform or tremble in fear. Life is like a garden. When you pull weeds, new flowers can bloom. When you release what does not belong to you, better things will take root. You need not cling to anyone or hold on to what no longer serves you. Trust that what is meant for you will remain, and what is not will gently depart. Therefore, if someone has left, let them go. If a door has closed, allow it to remain closed. Do not cling to what no longer brings you peace. Cherish what remains, the people still by your side, the connections that bring you warmth and well-being. For when your heart is at ease, what is meant for you will find its way to you. Third, life becomes easier. Have you ever noticed that the things that once tormented you, that once felt so constricting, now seem suddenly lighter? Life is still the same series of days, yet something has shifted. You no longer have to steel yourself to fight every challenge. You no longer feel the constant instability and exhaustion in the ebb and flow of work, finances, or health. Everything gradually settles into a natural, gentle, and peaceful rhythm. No more of the old entanglements. This is the sign of someone who has weathered the fiercest storms and repaid the debts of past karma. You may once have felt life as an endless cycle of obstacles. You strive, you fall, you rise again, yet never feel complete. Complex relationships, invisible debts, and endless burdens weighed on your shoulders. You wondered, why does misfortune keep finding me? And grew weary, asking, what did I do wrong? Over time, however, you realized those tempests were not punishments but purifications. They came to teach you your own lessons and to help you clear old spiritual debts. At some point, you discover you no longer have to overexert yourself to hold something in your hand. You stop panicking about the future and fearing the unknown. You work with dedication but without obsession. You strive without feeling pressured. Money flows naturally instead of haunting your thoughts. You no longer cling in fear of loss, nor see life as a battlefield. When your mind is calm, when you release control and accept life's natural current, everything suddenly becomes smoother. You once thought happiness arrived only after achieving this condition or acquiring that thing, imposing endless prerequisites on your joy. Now, you feel peace even when nothing is perfect. You no longer get swept up in competition, nor feel unbalanced by life's minor vicissitudes. You no longer fear loss, for you understand that nothing truly belongs to you. You no longer dwell on what is past, knowing that everything comes and goes for a reason. When the right conditions arise, good things flow to you naturally. You need not chase or scramble. You no longer worry about what lies beyond your control. Once your karma is repaid, life ceases to be a struggle and becomes a gentle journey. When you learn to let go, existence itself becomes serene. Fourth, a serene heart. This is the mark of one who has settled their karma. On some days, you suddenly realize you no longer harbor invisible fears, no longer toss and turn with unanswered questions, no longer worry endlessly about an uncertain future. Your spirit feels as light as a cloud, unburdened by past events or things yet to come. You no longer fret over what tomorrow might bring. You simply savor today. Each moment becomes as full and radiant as a dewdrop glittering in the morning sun. You may once have felt bewildered by life. You feared change, feared loss, feared what you could not control. But now you know that nothing lasts forever. Everything has its season, arriving and departing like waves upon the sea. You no longer worry when one door shuts, because you trust another will open. You no longer fear life's turning points, for you understand that all events occur for a reason. A person who lives this way is not haunted by the past, nor frightened of the future. They simply relax and allow life to unfold. Old troubles that once caused you anguish now seem distant as a dream. You no longer drown in regret or let the past imprison your heart. You understand that everything that happened had its purpose and that life's lessons arrive precisely when needed. You no longer blame yourself for what cannot be changed. You no longer think you might have done things differently, for you know that at that moment you did your best. Now, when you look back on those days, you smile. No regret, no bitterness. The past is part of you, but it no longer holds sway over your spirit. Each passing day, you find a gentle joy in the simplest things: a cup of tea, a sunny morning, a soft breeze. All become precious gifts to be treasured. You no longer seek happiness elsewhere or believe you must attain this or that to feel at peace. You understand that joy does not lie in external circumstances, but in how you perceive life. Each moment becomes clearer, each breath more precious. You no longer rush, no longer frantically pursue fleeting things. You know that life is not a race, but a journey to be savored. When you have repaid your karma, your soul becomes free. You are no longer dragged down by old sorrows or bound by vague anxieties. You understand that everything comes and goes according to its own causes and conditions. You do not cling, you do not force, you do not expect too much. You simply live, you simply exist, you simply enjoy each moment with complete calm in your heart. And that is the most beautiful sign of someone who has let go of all burdens, who has repaid the invisible debts of the heart, someone who is truly at peace. Fifth, fewer unexpected upheavals. There are phases in life when you feel swept into endless crises. One problem follows another like relentless waves, never giving you a moment's peace. But one day you notice that sudden upheavals no longer occur as often. Life feels gentler, smoother. This is not because the external world has changed, but because your inner world has quieted. Life always follows the law of cause and effect. When your mind is full of anger or anxiety, or when you remain trapped in tangled relationships, your life seems to mirror that turmoil. You are easily drawn into messy situations and unwanted gossip. But once you have repaid your karma, your mind no longer wavers before negativity. You no longer react violently to unexpected events, nor get dragged into unnecessary conflicts. As your inner peace settles, external crises naturally become less frequent. Every challenge in life is a lesson. Until you fully understand what you need to learn, life will present similar situations again, so you have the chance to reflect and change. But once you grasp the truth behind those trials, you need not repeat that lesson. It's like someone who was once trapped in toxic relationships, but, having learned self-worth and the art of letting go, no longer attracts negativity. That is how life works. After you mature through suffering, you never need to walk that same painful path again. Some people suffer misfortune again and again, betrayal, deception, injustice. Yet it is not bad luck, but unbroken karmic patterns. When you have repaid your karma, you no longer attract those negative experiences. The very people who once brought you pain will gradually fade away. You won't inadvertently slip into scandal or unwanted drama. You become like a traveler who, having passed through the storm, steps into a clear sky where peace envelopes you. You realize you no longer have to struggle over the unnecessary. Everything unfolds naturally, in harmony with life's flow. If difficulties do arise, you face them with steadiness. Instead of panic or avoidance, you know every problem has its solution. Whatever comes is what needs to come. You no longer cling to things that aren't yours or suffer when one door closes, but instead stand ready for the next door to open. You are no longer carried along by upheavals, but stand apart as their peaceful observer. And when you maintain that calm, tragedy itself seems to pass you by. True peace is not something distant or hard to find. It does not come from avoiding life or trying to control everything. It arises when you genuinely let go of unnecessary burdens. When you accept things as they are, you understand every occurrence held its own reason. You no longer blame the past or fear the future. And at that moment, your life truly lightens. Fewer sudden crises do not mean your life has no challenges. It means you have matured enough not to treat challenges as crises. You stand firm, ready to greet whatever comes with an untroubled mind. And that is the clearest sign you have repaid your old karmic debts. There are moments when you suddenly realize you are no longer weighed down by worries as before. The things that once caused you suffering no longer disturb your mind. The people who once hurt you have gone, making space for wholesome connections. Life ceases to be an exhausting struggle and becomes a gentle current in which everything comes and goes with ease. If you recognize these signs, smile, for they are proof of your journey of growth. You have weathered your challenges, repaid your old karma, and are stepping into a more peaceful chapter of your life.